Hey, it's Carl from Smallstep. In this video, I'd like to show you a demo of Smallstep's Enterprise Relay. Our Enterprise Relay is a network relay that protects access to SaaS apps and networks so that only the devices you choose can access these resources. We've achieved this using device-attested certificates and hardware-bound keys that cannot be exported from the device. So, what's a network relay? Network relays are a modern ZTNA or transparent VPN technology. They're very efficient because they use UDP and QUIC and HTTP3. And they allow you to tunnel traffic based on match or exclude domain names. So you can narrowly target your relay traffic. And at Smallstep, we've leveraged relays so that they can be useful for device authentication. Smallstep's Enterprise Relay can protect any resource that can be configured with an IP allow list. So most SaaS apps already support IP allow lists. GitHub, Dropbox, Salesforce, Stripe. Now originally, IP allow lists in SaaS apps were intended to limit access to the IP addresses of a company's corporate network or cloud. And the problem with this kind of restriction is that it relies on a network perimeter. So any attacker that has access to the corporate network would automatically be granted access to all the SaaS apps as well. So this is where it gets fun for us. Our solution combines the network relay with the IP allow list feature in most SaaS apps to enable device authentication to those apps. Relays are completely transparent to the end user, by the way. And because relays have very low latency and connection overhead, the traffic through a relay feels similar to direct traffic. And the relay itself only ever sees encrypted traffic. Enterprise relays are built on top of the MASQ protocol, MASQUE, which is the same standard that's used for iCloud Private Relay. Now, it's applied in a little different context here. iCloud Private Relay is primarily about anonymizing traffic, whereas enterprise relays authenticate and restrict traffic. Enterprise relays are secure because they use mutual TLS for authentication, and Apple added support for them in iOS 17 and macOS 14. So there's a first-party client built right into the operating system. So I want to show an example setup here. I have a Mac that is managed by Jamf, and we're taking a look at the configuration profile that we use to set up the relay configuration for this Mac. And I have the relay set up, but it's turned off at the moment. So for this configuration profile, we just have 3 payloads. It's a pretty simple setup. The Acme certificate payload is getting a client certificate using Acme device attestation from Smallstep. And the client certificate is going to have the serial number of this device in it. And it's also a hardware-bound private key. And we have attestation, so this value attest is true. And with that hardware attestation, we are able to prove and know from the Smallstep side with the highest possible assurance that only the devices in my Smallstep inventory are allowed to get certificates from the certificate authority. Then we have the second payload is just CA certificates. This is just to ensure that we have trust when we're connecting to the relay. We trust the server certificate that the relay uses. And then finally, we have the relay payload itself. This has the relay's URLs in it. It links over to the Acme certificate we just talked about for the client certificate. And it has a list of match domains. Now you can use match domains or exclude domains here, depending on how you want to use your relay. I've got a couple of Google apps set up in here, and we can see how those work through the relay just by going to these URLs here. So let's go to Jamboard. And right now I don't have access because the relay's turned off. So I'm just accessing this from my home computer. And the way this is set up, the way this is being blocked is with Google's context-aware access configuration. And I have that configured to only allow the relay's egress IP to access Jamboard. So if I turn the relay on now, and I restart Safari, go to Jamboard, and I'm in. So that's the basic setup for the network relay on macOS with Jamf.